In this lesson, we're going to make some ladders that come up along the side of this boiler. It's like a platform that's at the base, and then some ladders come up. So what I want to do first, go to Layer Manager. Let's unhide those blueprints. Okay, close Layer Manager, Lev Viewport. Let's move up front here. You can kind of see what's going on. Actually, let's do this. Let's unfreeze the blueprints. I'm going to select them. I'm going to Control and I to invert and hide selected. Now we could freeze them again. And now we're going to build this ladder. So what we need to do is go to Line, Shapes, Line. Let's just do one. Click right around. Hit F3 if you need to see it a little better. Depends on your video card and your settings. And just outline this shape from the blueprint. Say yes when it asks if you want to close the spline. P for perspective. F3. Let's move that out a little bit. Hit B for bevel. You'll see bend come up and then bevel. Let's use bevel. And it's too thick. It's probably got settings from when we made the chassis, which it does. It's 6 inches. Let's right click that out. And then right click out these values on the second level. So let's start with the first. Do the height. That's 2 inches. Let's go with 1 for now. Level 2, let's add another 1 inch. And let's just do the outline amount. Oops. Do the outline amount negative 0.4, and let's make the height a little less now that we see what it looks like. That's pretty good. So now it's like 1.5 inches wide. It's got a nice profile. It'll catch highlights this way too. So we're going to call that ladder underscore riser dash 01. And if we make any changes to it, we have like that. We know that's the original. Let's unhide all. Let's say no. Okay. And let's just pull that little riser out here. What we want to do is, I'm going to eye it up. You can also go look at the front viewport, you know, the front picture in the blueprints. You can see that they're the risers right here, you know, where the steps are. It's roughly the outer edge of the boiler, maybe a little past some of the parts that stick out. So I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to shift, drag that out as an instance, and I'm going to also mirror that. Let's make sure that's right. Okay, zoom in. That's good. Let's move a little closer. Okay, let's go to top viewport, F3. Let's select both and Alt-Q to isolate them. Now we're going to go to box, and between these two we're going to drag out a box 6 inches and just fill in this gap. I think that's a good size for a step. A little depth. Let's go like 1.5 inches. It's a little less. Click it up. Okay, P for perspective. Let's zoom in. Move it up to the right height. Right now it's way below where the ladder is. Let's move that up. Zoom in again. F3. Okay. You can see it could probably be a little wider. You can see those leading edges. So let's just could intersect a little. Let's place it at the very bottom. Push it back a touch. That's good. So that's one of those steps, the riser. Let's go to Lev Viewport. F3. You can see now that this needs a little bit of adjustment. Just pull that down like that. And back up the stack. That's fine. Let's grab that step. And let's see. I'm going to go like that. Instance, let's do 3. Okay, let's grab all 3. Let's go back. Line this to the center of the purple part, the side of the steps. Let's do the same here. That's good. And let's move this one back. Just like that. That's good. Go to P for perspective. Zoom in a little bit. See how it looks. That feels good. Go to Lev Viewport. And what we can do is either use bolts or rivets to put it at both ends of these steps. So let's go exit isolation. And what we want to do now is Layer Manager, Hardware, unhide the hardware layer. Let's roll in here. I'm going to grab a bolt. I don't think a bolt feels good. Right click it, clone it to a copy. Let's go up to the boiler level, the boiler layer, plus sign to add that. Let's hide the hardware layer. You see the bolt is still there and selected. Okay, let's just take that bolt now, move it back, move it down, perspective view, and move it out to the outside edge right there. Go back. As an instance is good. E, let's rotate it so it's not perfectly aligned to the other one. And now let's grab both. I'm going to scale them locally a little. They're a little small. So scale local. That's good. And now I'm going to drag them down. I'm going to shift them, shift drag. So we shift with the move tool. Left viewport, zoom in, make sure they're centered on that step. You can see the step right there. Let's do that again. OK as an instance. And move them in again. A little repetitive. There we go. One more time. OK. Let's move them in. And we're going to do the same on the other side of this riser. We're going to grab them all. Select them. There you go. May not see them, but let's shift and drag them in this way. As an instance is fine. And we want to mirror them. Mirror along the X. Now let's just move them back a little bit. And they're aligned pretty good right now, so that looks good. Alright, we have one last thing to do. We're going to make a little railing. So left viewport, zoom in. Okay, and the railing is going to be, let's hide the boiler, some of the boiler components. Just going to grab from the top. Grab that stuff right there and hide selected. I'm not worried if I missed a couple pieces. Deselect this, hide selected. F3, now I got a good view of what's going on here. Let's go to shapes, line. Let's just drag out a line that's going to become a railing. F3 if you need to see a little better. Click, click, come down here. I'm going to go past here like this, and then come across, just like that. And the spline, vertex. What we want to do now, let's grab that vert. We're going to use fillet. We did this earlier in one of the other parts of the exercise. We'll fillet that just till it matches. Right there is good. Let's grab this one, probably a different fillet value. Left click and roll up. That looks good. And one more time. That looks good. And now what we want to do, perspective viewport. Zoom in. F3 so you can see what you're doing. Grab that spline if you missed it. There we go. And zoom in a little bit. That looks good. Trying to center it on the width of this. And let's make this renderable. And go up here to the top. Enable and render, enable and viewport. It's very thick. So let's just drop this value down. Left click, roll it down until it looks like it's scaled properly. That looks good. I think that'll read pretty well from a certain distance. I see right now this vertex can come back a little, it's sticking out. Same here. Okay, let's name that railing 1. -01. And let's clone that whole object right over to the other side. As an instance is fine. And with that, I'm going to pause the video in a second. We're going to take this whole assembly, and when we show the chassis later, we're going to shift everything here, clone it, shift drag it, put it on the other side so it lines up with the other side. So when I pause the video in the next video, we're going to build this little section here, and this is part of the drive system that drives the wheels. We're going to build the housing, the ends, and the bolts over the next couple videos, and then we'll build this pipe that goes from the boiler down to that section. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll pick it up next time.